Hey guys, Eric here outside at the Bethlehem Golf Club. In today's video, we're going to talk about backswing secrets to shallow your downswing, and really specifically, two things you can do during your backswing to help shallow your downswing plane. And let's dive right into it. There's two things specifically that I'd like to talk about that will help get the club on a shallower downswing plane. Number one is how your lead arm or elbow works. During your backswing, the more your elbow points down towards the ground, the more vertical the shaft is going to be during your backswing. The more vertical the shaft's going to be during your backswing, all else equal, the easier it is to shallow coming down. You'll see that in a minute. Number two is your palm, your lead palm. The more that your left palm points up towards the sky, supinated position, the more the club head's going to be outside your hands, the more it's going to be easier to shallow coming down. Now, this is not for everyone, but if you've been struggling with a steep shaft, you want to shallow your downswing, haven't been able to, I would suggest exaggerating some of these backswing pieces. Lead elbow down, lead palm up. Let's cut the analyzer, show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll come right back. Backswing secrets to shallow the downswing. Now, what do we need to do during the backswing to shallow the downswing, or to give you the highest likelihood to shallow the downswing? We're going to work based off of an equal and opposite action-reaction principle. So if we want the shaft to shallow coming down, that means we would want to get it more vertical going back. I have Matthew Wolff on the left. Easy example of a guy who really shallows the downswing big time, is a huge change of direction with the shaft. And then I have Bubba Watson on the right. Same guy who, while more upright, also has a big change in direction in the shaft. And so now, I would prefer a swing in general where the club more or less works up and down the same angle, kind of like an Adam Scott, right? So if we look at Adam Scott, not a huge plane shift, right? He goes up there, he goes through the elbow plane up to the top, works back down. He's a fairly neutral guy. You look at his swing and say, wow, that looks pretty, kind of on the same plane, not a lot of plane shift. But if you're someone who's been trying to shallow the downswing, just can't do it, and you've been doing it for like 10 years, what I would suggest is you put in some pieces during the backswing to exaggerate how steep the backswing is to help your downswing. And so what I mean by that is if we get Matthew Wolff about just shy of left arm parallel, we'll do the same thing with Bubba Watson here early. Now you can see, if we get him a little bit earlier, you can see that Matthew Wolff is a little bit more exaggerated. But they sort of have the same idea here, where the shaft is on this sort of line. Now, I don't suggest you go this far, but the principle is going to remain true. And then you can see as he goes up to the top, he keeps a lot of that same sort of angle. Now, what does that do? Well, he's not going to swing from there down to the ball back this way. His really only option with it tilted across the line that much is to swing it back from inside. And you can see as he comes down there, I mean, just a ridiculous amount of plane shift, almost 90 degrees to where he was halfway back. Never seen that before. Bubba Watson on the right, smaller example, but the same sort of idea. You can see that that plane that the club shaft is on has changed dramatically from the angle it was going back. Most players, we'll bring Adam Scott back in here, you would see the plane going back. So let's get him about here-ish. So the shaft, when he goes back at the same spot, let's say it's roughly here-ish, compared to when he comes down, is certainly not that dramatic, right? Typically, good players, we've done backswing plane videos, you see a minor shift, which is really what we're looking for. But if you're too far over the top and you want this minor shift on the right, sometimes you have to, in the beginning, get a major shift or feel like a major shift on the left. Now, how do we do that? There's two key parts here, and both of them are with how the lead arm work. So to get the backswing steeper, in order to get the downswing more shallow, two key things. One, the lead elbow needs to stay pointed more down towards the ground, like this, and that's going to show us the shoulder rotation, so the lead elbow being pointed more down towards the ground. And the second part, we get him a little bit earlier, lead elbow down. The second part is where the palm is. So notice that the palm, the lead left-hand palm, is up towards the sky. We're still in a supinated position. Notice his palm is more up towards the sky. If you get someone who lays the shaft off more, that palm will start going more down towards the ground. So in order to get that backswing steeper and to keep it as long as you can, look at Matthew Wolff. How long, right? I've never seen someone do this much. that elbow stays down and the left palm stays pointed up. You can see here with Bubba, he's not going to do the palm as much because the shaft gets more neutral at the top. The palm's more this way. But you can see the lead elbow staying down towards the ground. The more the palm points up towards the sky, the more across the line the shaft will be going back, which means the higher the likelihood it's shallow is going down. The more the palm points straight to the left, the more vertical the shaft will be. And the more the palm would point down towards the ground, the club would be much more laid off at the top. So those are the two moves we're looking for during the backswing if you want to exaggerate pieces to help ensure your downswing shallows. Left elbow down, left palm up, right off the bat. As long as you can do it, let's talk about how to do it. Okay, so as we saw there, some of the backswing moves, exaggerated, guys, right? Like, do you need to, or do I suggest you getting this far out? No, not really. You saw Matthew Wolff does, top fives in every major he plays in, so maybe it's not a bad idea. But the point here is, if you're someone who's been steep the whole time, learning how to go kind of reverse it. If you're steep coming down, to fix that, you want to be more steep going back. If you're too steep coming down, to fix that, you want to be more steep going back. Steep with what? Steep with the shaft angle. More vertical. More vertical the shaft is, the more horizontal it's going to be coming down. This whole video is under the assumption you want to be more horizontal coming down. Now, how do you start this process? Well, it goes without saying, I think, you need to record yourself from down the line. Because if you're someone who needs to feel these things, if I'm suggesting to you, hey, feel your left elbow point more down, feel your left palm point more up, if you do that in reality, the club's going to be out here. Now, when you swing normal, do I want that? No, I want like Adam Scott, like I mentioned. But if you normally go elbow out, where's the club go? Horizontal. If you normally go palm down, where's the club go? Horizontal. Not good. You need to feel as though your elbow goes down and your palm goes up. And if that actually looks like this, that's fine. We want to avoid this, right? Again, you can over-exaggerate. So in the starting points of this, short iron, video behind you, start slow, build up the speed. So where do we start feel-wise, drill-wise with this? Well, what I would do is take your lead arm out in front. This is all lead arm feels. And do some swings with just your lead arm where you feel those two things. Nothing more complicated yet. Your elbows pointed down towards the ground, so sort of inner part or pit of your elbows up towards the sky, and your palm stays up towards the ground. So it's almost as though you're sort of handing someone something with your palm up, like you're holding like a glass of water or something like this, and I'm working back this way. The bad, or the opposite, would be elbow gets farther from my body, right? Elbow points away from me, palm goes down. The good, elbow stays the same distance away from me, elbows down, palms up. So what I would do is do some of those first and then feel the same thing with the club. You're going to notice the club head's outside my hands more on this side. Club face a little bit more tilted down. Now naturally, if I were to react to the ball from here and put any sort of force in the club, it's going to kick this way. From here, it's going to kick this way. If I did the opposite, it's going to kick this way. So that's the sensation there. You're going to do a couple like that, and the shaft should really start to change direction automatically. Now, you probably don't want to have a grip pressure of like 100 million here. So we're just feeling that early, left elbow down, left palm up. And we're starting to, hopefully from behind, see the change of reaction with the shaft. Again, this is just one part of this. This is an exaggerated version if you're too steep, but that's all I'm looking for. I'm not trying to shallow it coming down at this point. I'm feeling left elbow down, left palm up. I'm going to hit a couple, and then I'm going to record from down there and see what changed with my shaft. I don't suggest this for every golfer. I suggest this for you specifically if you're too steep for too long. Be a little bit looser with your arms, hands, club, elbow down, palm up. Do nothing coming down, record it. Keep exaggerating till the shaft starts coming down. If you don't hit it perfect right away, that's okay. You might need to pair something else like more hip rotation, etc. along with it. But those are the pieces during the backswing that are the main priorities in terms of the shaft to be able to shallow your downswing. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. If you liked the video, do us a favor, click that like button down below. Really helps us get our videos out to more people so we can keep making videos for you guys here for free. Click that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. If you do like these YouTube style videos, and this in particular, we're gonna put a recommended video on the screen here for another YouTube style video. If you would like more coaching, we'll put a card on the screen for cogornogolf.com. We'd love to see you there.